Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Blessed love, family. Oh, do give thanks to the Sabbath coming in. It is a joy that you are here with us in the Tiger's Nest. Of course, you know your brother Priest Isaac is here. What a joy. It is an honor that you could come and sup with me as usual. Again, this is another edition of Chalice Talk. And if you don't know what Chalice Talk is all about, well, you're supposed to come and sit in and sup in with your chalwa. And really, the vibes is even if you don't have your chalwa or you're not supping your chalwa, the vibes is that the way I conduct this program is that I begin by lighting the chalice. So while I'm lighting the chalice, we go through a little intermission, a little vibration. But this session here, we're not going to be listening to the Nyabingi as such. We're going to be listening to some reasoning by some empresses from the EABIC and otherwise as it relates to the cycle of the woman. The 21-day purification specifically is what I want to talk about. But of course, you have to naturally get into the natural menstrual cycle of the woman. Now, of course, this is going to be a very sensitive subject area. And definitely, it is something that many people are concerned about. So, in fact, I don't even want to say too much about it. I just want to hold the med so we can get to the flavor. As I said, this is Chalice Talk. So once we gather for Chalice Talk, I definitely encourage you to get your chalice. You definitely can order it. priestisaac27@gmail.com. That is how you contact me. And just request your chalwa, your chalice, and we will do the rest. We would recontact you. We will definitely show you exactly what is available. And of course, you have different sizes, you have different prices, you have different things. As you can see, you have your colored ones, you have your earthly ones, you have your ital ones, you even have your steam chalices as well. The Honorable Jah Daniel produces the steamers as well. I must say we have chalices from different parts of the world coming to you. So don't worry, you're definitely getting the best that there is to offer. So order your chalice today, and prepare yourself for the Chalice Talk. As I said, Priest Isaac 27@gmail.com. And this specific edition is sponsored by our International Homeschool Cosmic Classes. As I always tell you, family, you have young ones, you have children. Even if you don't have any children, you should still enroll yourself in the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge International Homeschool Classes. And what we cover is primarily astronomy and African history and heritage. And of course, these subject areas, for sure, we definitely deal with astronomy in depth. So for sure, and of course, African history. And our classes, they are sent out every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And the classes are in video form and they would appear in your inbox every single day. As I said, we offer astronomy and African history and heritage. And you'll get more than 160, listen to me, you will get more than 160 classes over a 10-month period. And our scholars surprise even their own parents with the material that they retain. And of course, the young scholars, this is the children I'm talking about, they absolutely love their daily lessons. So definitely, family, you could contact me, same way, priestisaac27@gmail.com. And I could send you this very brochure that you're looking at. It's an electronic brochure. Plus, I would also give you a video that is highlighting, what we have to offer as it relates to our international homeschool classes. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you as it relates to that. Now, how I am going to begin this episode here, remember, we are basically going to be speaking about the 21-day purification of the Bobo Shanti order. And many people, concerned about it. And there's so many things that I can get into, but, I'm just going to light my chalwa now, get the heavens prepared. We're going to be listening to this this little reasoning here by the Bobo Shanti Empresses. And then after that, I'm going to go straight into an interview that I'm sure many of you have seen with some empresses. I do not know their name off my head, but we will definitely go into that in a moment, and we will hear for sure their outlook as it relates to, let's just say, the 21-day purification of the Bobo Shanti. All right. As I said, this is going to be a very deep reasoning. It's a very serious reasoning. It's not a joke at all. And for sure, I know ones may have their own concerns, but this is the way that the priest does it. I'm talking about myself. So remember, this is Chalice Talk. So you got to make up your mind to spend some time with me. This ain't no Russian and let's get it over with quickly business here. We're taking our time. If we're here for 3 hours, that's what it is, because it's a very important subject area. So let me just bless my chalwa and give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Give thanks to the father and the mother of creation. Give thanks to the prophet and priest and the king. We're thankful for the chalwa that has been provided. Give thanks to the hand that planted the herb. I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Listen. All right.
Of our government, and we stand for freedom, redemption, international repatriation. See, that's what we really are here for, chanting for our freedom out of this desolate land still, to go home. That's not what we are doing. That's what we are doing here.
What about
as an empress.
Okay, as an empress now, in terms of your function as a, as an empress, that's what I'm talking about, because we got that part already. I want to understand yourself, or your role as a woman here then.
My role as a woman here in this Congress still, is to stand within a black woman, then to live back a principle, right?
Yeah. What are
a Queen Omega principle, right?
Explain that.
Queen Omega principle is that I and I, the black woman, are goddess of the earth. We were the first woman. We were the first woman of earth, right? That means we have to come back now and show back forward a principle, that everyone could see, what I and I, woman, live, stand for still.
We really, what we really do here is that we not really stand in the back. We're up front, but the lords and prophets and priests stands out. We're here on the free and the unfree areas, wherein we stipulate whenever time an empress is free, we help the brethren in their area, strength to strength, and help in home career, like helping them get their clothes, the surroundings clean up.
Pardon a moment. And I stand together, all women of all races, to bring them back to a right to themselves, living to our divine principle, which is a 21-day principle. Like on the first day that you see a monthly, right? We are set apart from the rest of the foundation, from the rest of the family. We put up a red flag at our gate. That means that we don't communicate with any free one. And I stand together, all women of all races, to bring them back to a right to themselves, living to our divine principle, which is a 21-day principle. Like on the first day that you see a monthly, right? We are set apart from the rest of the foundation, from the rest of the family. We put up a red flag at our gate. That means that we don't communicate with any free one. Anyone who sees us is unfree, and we're unfree for 21 days. And when we're free now, we work our salvation, we go to the tabernacle, we do all like a family duties, you know, help out on the foundation, that kind of thing.
That means
To bring them back to a right to themselves, living to our divine principle, which is a 21-day principle. Like, on the first day that you see a monthly, right, we are set apart from the rest of the foundation, from the rest of the family. We put up a red flag at our gate. That means that we don't communicate with any free one. Anyone who sees us is unfree, and we're unfree for 21 days. And when we're free now, we work our salvation, we go to the tabernacle, we do all like a family duties, you know, help out on the foundation, that kind of thing.
That means that now we as women here still, we stand and for such Queen Omega principle, you know, such divine creation principle. True is that we were living when we were in yard still, and true we came down here in captivity there, you know, you find us a such principle that was, you want to iron to take now away from us. As our father now, Prince Emmanuel will come back and taught us.
Happened to become a part of this? When did this happen for you and why?
Well, as for myself, it happened like this. Well, I have a
Please pardon me. Now, there's a bit more there, but I just want to concentrate on the subject area. So I'm going to repeat this area so we don't go into other things. And then I'll go to the other interview that I spoke of.
And I stand together, all women of all races, to bring them back to a right to themselves, living to our divine principle, which is a 21-day principle. Like, on the first day that you see a monthly, right, we are set apart from the rest of the foundation, from the rest of the family. We put up a red flag at our gate. That means that we don't communicate with any free one. Anyone who sees us is unfree, and we're unfree for 21 days. And when we're free now, we work our salvation, we go to the tabernacle, we do all like a family duties, you know, help out on the foundation, that kind of thing.
That means that now we as women here still, we stand and for such Queen Omega principle, you know, such divine creation principle. True is that we were living when we were in yard still, and true we came down here in captivity there, you know, you find us a such principle that was, you want to iron to take now away from us. As our father now, Prince Emmanuel will come back and taught us.
Happened to become a part of this? When?
All right, so those, this is in 1982. This is at Bobo Shanti Hill, for those who would not know. That is in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, 10 miles Bull Bay, 13 Marcus Garvey Way. And these three empresses were being interviewed by this gentleman here from the television station. And the outstanding aspect of the interview was that which was highlighting the 21-day purification, which is the subject. So other things were said about marriage and paper and man in front of woman and a few other things, but it's not necessarily germane to the discussion, to the point that I'm going to even jump from this now and go straight into the other interview. This is an interview in the States, and the sisters here, none of them are Bobo Shanti, but they would be discussing the menstrual cycle in general and how Rastafari, I guess, operate with it. And then Bobo Shanti will come into the conversation and somewhat become the center of the conversation. But let us follow this. Let me make sure the volume is up here. All right, I think you will full enjoy this.
You know, one of the things that I really want to bring to light here is that you said we know that it's a process of transformation within the body. But when we call it process of cleansing, it leads them to say that we're unclean. And that's an acceptable word. I don't accept the word that I am unclean. So we have to be careful with those terminology. Transformation, your body's changing.
Right, because remember the egg is shedding.
But it does not make you unclean.
No, I didn't say
I'm not saying that you're saying
but that is a word that is used. It's even in the Bible, actually.
The word that they,
in the King James Version, isn't it?
Bible has so many things in it that is unacceptable. However, one of the things that we have to pay attention to how your body works, right?
Truly.
My mother, I'm not saying that she wasn't a Rasta woman. Maybe she didn't come to the realization of who she really was. And from young, I remember clearly that she would not let me cook during that time because she says that the heat, because you're so close to the stove, and the heat would make you bleed more. So, you know, elders have a lot of things that they're saying that probably naturally we shouldn't be doing it. And you could just imagine you're cooking and you have your cycle and you bleed and you have to go to the bathroom to change and wash. It just doesn't add up. So naturally you'd want to rest because your body is transforming, things are happening and shedding. But when the men them say they put us away because we are unclean, unacceptable. Unacceptable. We're not unclean.
Right.
And I just want to chime in on that because you have a lot of ones that came into Rastafari after being out in the world living and, you know, going through life. And your mother cooked for you, your sisters cooked, you this and you that, and now you become the Rasta man, and you are going to dictate, no, that it is not acceptable for a woman anymore during her cycle to cook and prepare food for you. How did you survive prior to that? Okay? Because if you live in a household with just your mother, 90% of the times your father is out in the field doing whatever or at work. So most of those duties were relegated to mothers to do. So how do you come now today to say that because a woman is unclean, she cannot prepare food for you? I have a problem with it. Because growing up, my mother, my grandmother, my sisters prepared my meals, and they prepared food for my brothers as well. So why would I think anything less? I don't see anything wrong with a woman having a menstrual cycle. It's a time of showing that, you know what, all our being is operating the way it's supposed to operate, because that's how the natural order of a woman is. And you would want to tell me that because I am fulfilling that right and that obligation as a woman, I am dirty? I have a problem with it. And you know, like Sister Idama said, it came out the Bible. And that's why some things in the Bible, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because don't use it as the life book. Use it as a tool, like any other tool of reference that you have. Live your life and find what works for you based on the natural order of who you are.
Right. And what Sister Aisha and Sister Dama, I mean, we're talking about the cycle. The part that would trouble me so much, if you think that she's so unclean and you have male and female children, but she can cook for the female child but not the male child, something is terribly wrong with that picture. And then when you're studying herbology and honoring Mother Nature, and people of all different background and culture, Native American, African, and they gather in a circle of women, they would ask the sister who has her cycle, who has the cycle in this circle? And I would be like, what's going on here? And that's the woman that you would put in the center of the circle, and that's the woman that you would honor because of the blood is life. You know, you get that? So it just depends on what we learn and where it is coming from. Sister Aisha mentioned the Bible. You can use it as something as reference or just to read, but you have to take it with a grain of salt, because that's why so many of the prejudices come through the Rasta tradition, because they read the Bible and some of the things that they misinterpret give them the right to feel like I'm the king and she's less than.
But what I want to say though, Sister, I want to speak.
I want to say concerning a word upon this unclean and within the woman. The woman is always clean. Rastafari. Within Irish. The men within this part of not cooking or not cooking, even if the woman ain't cooking the house, they still go out and they would eat when they don't know who cook. So who clean? You know, because a lot, don't cook my food, don't do this. But then when you go out, you go to at a restaurant or somewhere, you don't know who cook, who unclean.
Right.
So that's just my point.
Well, I want to say that, of course, I want to be clear, and I want to paint a clear picture, since it seems to be a hot topic. And I want to say, during that time, the brethren assumed the kitchen responsibilities. He cooked for the whole home. If it was how many days, he cooked throughout the duration. If he had to prepare the food before going to work, and lunch and all of that, because again, Italivity, he did all of that. And at the same time, he ensured that he's an herbalist as well. So he was the one that would prepare herbs for I during that time, childbirth, always preparing special herbs for I and I. Right. So again, you know, it is what one chooses to embrace.
Yeah.
Can we just read
Go ahead,
some?
read some.
Miss G said, yes, sis, same, so, who clean, such foolishness. Then you have Miss G, then she says again, yes, Sister Kuchi, frame of reference is an important thing. Then you have Empress M. The hypocrisy is all in this, that the same brethren who wants to separate from the woman doing her cycle because she's unclean, she put it in quotation, still have to encounter other unclean women through the course of the day. And Miss G said you have to burn it.
Talking about, we're on the same topic.
I'm sorry that I cut you.
No.
I'm sorry that we don't have one of the empresses from the Bobo Shanti faith.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because they have a very strict order.
Right.
Where, I mean, gone past the time, gone past the 7-day cycle.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
And they have a system, a structure in place.
They have a
support it.
system. All due respect to my Bobo sister, we are Rasta women.
Give thanks.
I had the privilege of going to the Bobo camp in Jamaica.
I did too.
Okay?
I spent time
I did
there
not appreciate, and I would say appreciate love if you want me to say that. Respect.
No, in this case, is appreciate.
The appreciate, okay, the fact that they had outsiders visiting this camp, all type of people visiting this camp.
Okay.
And you have this woman, Rasta woman, in a compound with a flag, indicating to visitors that they're having their cycle and they're unclean. Or impersonal is that.
Wow.
I mean, it's not for the world to know what I'm going through. But then you can actually see a window in the compound. We can see them and they can see us, but we can't go in another section. It's not like you said it's in a bush hidden and no one can see them. Then you would see an elder mother goes to the window and take them food. It just, the image just remind me of captivity in prison, what's going on there. And before I entered the compound, I had to wait, and this is the thing that I'm saying because it happened. I had to wait outside in the hot sun until they found the elderly Bobo woman, sister, to come and question me.
Mama Julie, maybe.
I don't know who, were you clean? Are you seeing your cycle? Are you seeing your cycle? If you did, how many days since your cycle? But during that time, I was with child, I was pregnant. So they allowed me to come in. But all of the other Europeans them that walked in the camp, are they going to say the truth? If I came all the way from America to go to the Bobo camp, and somebody's going to question me, and if I know that I cannot go in there with my cycle, would I just say I'm having my cycle, or would I just say no? And they just walk in, move around the compound, then you have a place of worship, where the sisters and worship on this side, in this compound, this area, and the brothers them are in that area, but you allow all type of people to come into the sacred ground and walk around with sandal and shop, just walking around. I just couldn't over that vibration, and then we are watching our sister in a compound with a flag. Don't come on now. What is really, I couldn't over that. I just was just freaking out. And then it went on to the brethren them say, you have to go into this room. I went into the room, the rest of them surround the Bobo brethren them to, I guess, interrogate, question. I have problem with that. But the Rasta woman who were my sisterin were not allowed to sit with Sister Kuchi, but they had to stand behind me. What is really wrong with that picture? I mean, something is, when you think about that, you really think about where does all of this come from, where we are still in a compound where we're supposed to feel free to walk around and feel so we are Rasta women with our family. We are shunned aside where everybody can look like it's a circus where there's a flag indicating of my private life.
Wow. See what they're saying in there.
Someone say, what?
Who is clean? Such foolishness. Taught the thing, Sister Kuchi.
All right.
But, you know, I just want to touch on that. We all know where this started, okay? It came out of the Bible, and it speaks about the Hebrew journey through the wilderness and not having the access to water or proper sanitary conditions. Women were isolated so that they did not have to, you know, no one would have to see them bleed, or you not having that water to be able to tidy yourself. We're in the year 2016, where so much has evolved, where we have sanitary products being sold, we have water where we can clean and refresh ourselves, we have change of clothes, we have all of this, and yet still we still live under that stigma of you're unclean. So my question to society is, when is it going to change? Because if you are in the job market and you're working, your employer does not want to hear, I cannot come to work this week because I have my cycle. He wants you there to do the job, and that's what you get paid for. Okay, so where is the reality behind it in the culture that we live in now, that's very capitalistic and wanting people to be at work? If they can get you there 365 days a year, they want you there. So when do we come real with ourselves? Like Sister Mercy says, I go in a restaurant, I don't know who prepared my food.
Good point there.
Because you may see a man standing at the front, but he's not the one that's cooking it.
Right.
You know, so that's the reality. This is where we have to get past some of these things, because also what it does is it breaks down the morale of our daughters.
Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Give thanks once again, of course. Chalice talk in full effect and vibration is high. Give thanks to the wonderful, beautiful empresses here. Give thanks to the sisters. Well, I don't want to say nabbing, I can't say, but give thanks to the sisters and their expression, you know. And you might be even surprised that a lot of what was said, I could hardly feel it as well too, you know. But before I go to the depths of that, so once again, give thanks for, first of all, the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation, the empresses that spoke there. Also, again, give thanks to those sisters that we just heard a moment ago. And let me just say that before we go on, because we're getting into that now. So before we go on, we definitely intend to, this may be the final program here on this platform for a little bit. It may not be no long time, you know, it might just be whether a week and a half or 2 weeks or maybe more. But for sure, this presentation here that we're doing, this Chalice Talk, we would not be coming to the YouTube or none of them things there for a while. But just a short time. So this is why you need to put on your notification button as well. In fact, if for sure, if you're not a subscriber, I don't know what's going on, but you should make sure you subscribe to this channel here I'm talking about, and then put on your notification button. So if we return in a strong, it might be a next Chalice Talk, or it might be the next 2 Chalice Talks away. But whatever the case is, we're here, man, don't worry. But we're not going to be broadcasting any videos for a while. So make sure you put on your notification so when we come in, bing, you know that we're here. But for sure, we still will be doing our Shock of the Hour radio program. So those who are not subscribers to that, you should get on the subscription wagon right away and become a subscriber to the Shock of the Hour. I feel like I need a next Chalice drama. Subscribe to the Shock of the Hour, radio program for sure, and receive your nightly program, of course, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And let's just say that we're actually out for strong. You ain't got no excuse at all. If you really love I and love the vibes, as if that's really the case, you could just email me and say, Priest, I would like one of those but one of those free trial that you give for the week, Shock of the Hour. And let's just say we're away for that so-called week, you still have me covered, or I have you covered, because you'll be getting the Shock of the Hour, at least for strong. Yeah, and then it's up to you if you want to continue. But you know what to do, man. priestisaac27@gmail.com. All right. Now, what I want to get into here. Now, you see everything that just went down. Now, I know many of you are listening. Now, you have different outlooks to this, For sure, the hardcore Bobo Shanti, is all the way with whatever the Bobo Shanti saying there, 21-day purification. So you heard what the sister said. She began by saying the Empress Day in the first video, the one that we highlighted. So the one prior to her was talking about, this is a Livity and a Queen Omega Livity and, different things. So this one just came in and just said, no, well, she didn't say that, but she came in and just took the conversation and said, listen, this is a 20, how you go, how is that? Yeah, this is a 21-day purification Livity. We come to bring back a right to all women, whatever race and creed and class, something of the sort, with a 21-day purification. I definitely paraphrasing. I mean, to say I've been watching this video for years. I've been watching that video when it was on cassette, video cassette, not DVD, cassette, like those big VHS stuff. We used to have that, you know what I mean? Give thanks to the man Tracker and his father, Wumpum. Wumpum is an ancient Rasta man. I used to borrow that video from them. That's a long time ago there. I mean, 20-something years ago, maybe or 25 years ago. I used to be watching the Black Christ and that video and carried back for them, until I got it on DVD. So I'm sure I've watched that video there 1,000+ times, maybe more, so maybe I should be able to recite what she said. But what I'm saying, so she's saying that from the day you start to see your cycle, your cycle, that is your menstrual cycle, your period, and I want to find the exact words that she was using. You're put away from the rest of the congregation, and we're unfree for 21 days, and those who see us are unfree too. And after the period of time, we come and we do our work amongst the tabernacle and such things and such things. Hey, this is going to be a serious program. I wonder when we get done here tonight. But anyway, and then you heard the other side where the other empresses were explaining, well, one sister was giving you her experience specifically, that, yeah, well, she was there when she was even with child. She dreaded to wonder what would happen if she wasn't with child, and her experience sounds quite dread to it. All right. Now, in all honesty, for you to even begin a conversation like that, you should have a good understanding of the reproductive system of the woman. Now, this is a case of overstanding and patience and an open mind. Because as you could see, even in the interview that we just ran, a lot of emotions are involved with this. A lot of energy and feeling of being kept down and being crushed by maybe male chauvinism for quite some time. And anything that doesn't even appear like it's liberating the woman, we ain't got no time to play with that. That's the mindset of many ones. You know? So you even heard it there. I consider you heard it there. As the sister was expressing that it just reminded her of, you know, captivity. And I must say, you know, I don't know if that was her only visit, no disrespect to her. But as a person that have lived there, I would call it live. Anything over a month and a half is live there. On several occasions, I never experienced or even see what she's saying. In fact, what she's saying about she wouldn't mind if it was back in the bushes somewhere. Well, from my experience, and I know the healers change from time to time, and any Bobo Shanti can tell me, from my experience, it's not back in the bush, but there is a level of privacy in that compound that she's describing there, from my perspective. In fact, the only time you would see the flag, you'd have to go out of your way to get around there and see the flag, not from the open where not, you know, not in the open, not in the reception area, not at all, not from my knowledge. You know. But as I said, you could hear there's obviously a lot of emotion there at the same time, and I do not want to discredit her experience because I wouldn't expect her to be adding to it, because, you know, we're supposed to be mature here. But what I'm saying, even before I go to any of that, if you are serious about understanding this, you should have some slight comprehension of the natural, as one sister said, the natural cycle of the woman. How many of us, both male and female, even comprehend the system of the woman, that is which we deal with reproduction, how she's made up? How many of us understands what happens when her cycle begins, as it's called, when she begins to pass blood, and in many cases clots, and she go into pain sometimes, and bloating, and different energy and different vibes? How many of us really comprehend that? Or you got to be a doctor to know these things? Because sometimes when you talk, people say, are you a doctor? So you got to be, like, you got to be everything to have an opinion on anything. Many a young princesses see their menses for the very first time. And they go and tell their mother that they're bleeding. Meaning that they were never privy or prepped without any understanding of what to expect when they reach 12, 13, some cases 11, and all sorts of different ages. But then again, that's another thing. Because when it's off, when the cycle is wrong, when it's not coordinated with the moon, and it's too early and it's too late, even when it's too painful, or the red spot is too long, too thick, too much clotting, sometimes the womb needs to be cleansed. The womb needs some love. The womb needs affection, food, herbs, deep breathing, praying, fasting at the right time. For a woman shouldn't be fasting when she's on her cycle. But anyway, let's take our time. We're kind of going ahead of what I want to do here. But it's chalice talk, so everything is right on time. So you should understand, I'm sure, the whole makeup of the woman, her reproductive system. Of course, the ovaries, some of us would refer to it as the eggs that, of course, come out of the ovary during the right time and goes through the fallopian tube and eventually ends up into the area that we would call the uterus or the womb, really, which is the uterus. And the endometrium, which is very important, is really the lining of the uterus, but very important when it comes to the natural cycle of the woman. In fact, you know, we did a program on not the 21-day purification, but we did a program about maybe about 6 months ago, directly dealing with the natural cycle of the woman, and of course the cervix, and then the vagina, which is the vaginal canal itself. What people may recall or call the vagina is really the vulva, which is the opening of the vagina. And the vagina is the vaginal canal, I would prefer to say, and of course entering into the womb itself. Now, as simple as that is, pardon me, as simple as that appears, with no disrespect, even some of the sisters are not privy to even this understanding here. When it's not or was not taught in school or taught to you by anyone, but just to, in this time of information where anything you want to know is in your hands, many ones bypass this, brothers too, their own self, and even this. If you're a man, you should know the woman. If you are a man, you should have a comprehension of the woman, how she's made up, how she works. So at least we have an understanding. Again, the fallopian tube, let me just make it clear, the fallopian tube, not going to the depths of it. As I said, we did a video on this, the menstrual cycle of the woman, and Rastafari, I think the name of it is. So you observe now, as I said, the ovaries would come out of the fallopian tube and travel in. And then even during the movements thereof, the walls of the endometrium would be getting thick with blood. All of that is very important, because that blood would actually become like a cushion for the egg that will be fertilized when the sperm comes in. Because obviously this is where the phallic or the penis of the man would enter. And of course, when he ejaculates, the sperm would rush up to meet the egg. And the egg, of course, will form the new life or the new baby inside of the womb. But if nothing happens, if the sperm or the egg doesn't meet, or whatever the case, nothing happens really. The egg, of course, will pass and eventually would come out, and the whole walls will somewhat collapse, the endometrium, and the blood will rush out with the life and the egg and everything. And a new cycle would naturally begin. All right. So that is really what is taking place when we observe the whole 28-day cycle. Is this the next picture here? Okay, let us still use this for the moment. So really, as I said before, you have different stages here. You have a 1 to 7, some may have it 1 to 10. You have your 7, 14, 21, and 28-day stage. The 28th day really is the cycle beginning again. You understand even the science of the moon, 28 days the cycle of the moon, 27.7 officially. But you know, you don't know how it is. 28 day is the science of the cycle. 365 days a year, but it's still 365 and a quarter. So understanding. So the woman's cycle may not necessarily be 28 days. It may be exactly 27.7 days, just like the moon. So in the same way that the moon has its first quarter and new moon and last quarter and full moon, it's the same thing with the woman. So the woman naturally has that cycle. The woman has a natural cycle that goes for 7 days, one that goes into the 14-day, one that carries her into the 21-day, and one that carries her into the 28th-day. She naturally has that. Whether you believe in 21-day purification or not, that's not the point for the moment. How many of us have taken the time to embrace this knowledge here? It's there. Something's going on the 21 days. There's a science here. Now you have to keep in mind again, the follicle is being released, as we just expressed, coming out of the ovaries. That is what's happening here when you see the follicle being released on well, from day one, I should say, it's being nourished. That's another thing, because you have several eggs within those 2 ovaries, but the stronger one will survive. So it's being nourished by many different things. You have the hormones now that are reacting, coming from being released, I should say, being secreted, coming from the different glands. You have the hypothalamus gland in the brain. You have the hypothalamus gland. You have the pituitary gland, and you also have the pineal gland. They do not speak too much about the pineal gland in their science, but we know the 3 glands in the head, the Godhead, the Trinity, Selassie, is working in oneness. So really, you have the follicle stimulating hormone, and that is, of course, going to stimulate the follicle, feeding it and nourishing it too. You have the luteinizing hormone as well, and this can be seen here. You see both of them here and how they react. They basically peak to a certain level during the 14-day. That's very important. Now, what you have to comprehend with this whole movement here, with the follicle getting strong, receiving nutrients, and then coming out of its shell, then it goes into, if you notice, it comes out around the 14-day. As I said, if the sperm comes and meets it during that time, around 11, 12, 13, 14 day, that is the time of ovulation. That is the time that a woman would easily get pregnant. Follow me good, eh? So during the menstrual cycle, the woman shouldn't be getting pregnant for sure. That's disgusting, isn't it? I'm telling you, but what I'm saying still, yeah. But the 11, 12, 13, 14 day after the cycle, that is the best shot. Ovulation time, more 12, 13, 14, even it maybe 15, 16, maybe 17, more than likely it's not going to happen. 18 and 19, you're out of that already. But let me show you what's going on here. I mean, someone's may argue, I know a few people that would say that they know of cases where it happened differently. But anyway, I'm not getting into that for now, but just dealing with the scientific part of it. So let us use this graph, which basically shows us similar, but at the same time. So here you see the luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone. You don't have to worry about that in depth for now. Just know that they are needed. First of all, that they're secreted from the brain. These hormones that nourish and actually conduct the movement of the follicle and other things within the whole reproductive system of the woman, they come out of the brain. That's why you have to eat good brain food. This is a serious thing, So the woman's cycle actually have to do with her brain, have to do with even the way she thinks, just like how she's secreting hormones. You have to concentrate on the thoughts that she's secreting as well. The secretion may be different, but it's still secretion. You understand? So watch the natural hormone, more secretion here again, Watch the estrogen and the progesterone. Inside the woman. Inside of the woman. As you see, the estrogen go to its highest peak here, around the same 14 day. If you notice, all these 3 things peak around the 14 day. Why is that? And that is the time to give life. So around the 14 day, naturally, the woman is more if you want to say open than any other time, naturally. It's just like, no one, I hope no one feel disrespected, you know, but it's just like the animals. Yeah, but we're the intelligent animals. Sometimes the animal in heat, they have cycles, they have seasons, you know. So the human season may be a little bit different. You know, we have been indoctrinated, I should say, subliminally, to feel that the season is Valentine's Day, any old time, and when you come home from work, and them is madness. Them is madness, you know? Yeah. But the vibration is on the 14th day, the female hormone. It's natural to have both hormones, but the female hormone is at its boost. The male hormone is as low as it can get in its rising around the 14th day as such. You know, so she ain't got no masculine in her. Once her clock is correct and she eating the right thing and moving the right way, I telling you, around the 14th day, you know what I mean, she's at full womanhood there, full moon on you there, Rasta. I telling you, yeah. So the estrogen highest and everything to make sure that the egg moving proper every month, eh? All right, good. So after that now, it's like preparation for such, for the because the egg now is going to be moving on. The egg is dying off as such and going away. And even the hormones now are coming to their lowest point. And the progesterone is needed to somewhat nourish the womb again and even bring in certain reaction and get it prepared for the cycle to begin. So you have the follicular cycle or phase. You have the phase, pardon me, you have ovulation again, just explain. The luteal phase, which is basically where you get the 21 day, the luteal phase. And then you have the premenstrual phase, which is 28. So you just see now, you could see the combination here. You see the movements, you see the, again, highlighting just quickly, the follicle stimulating hormone. Now, this is how the endometrium would look during the time frame. As I said, the cycle and the shedding of the blood here from day one. And then, of course, you see the walls being built up with blood here, just as I explained, the endometrium itself, the walls of the uterus being built up here with blood. You understand? Full up with blood here on the side. Let me show you again quickly. You see it here being built up with blood and all interacting again with the hormones, the follicle stimulating and the luteinizing hormones. This show you at its peak with the estrogen, same time as the egg is being released, if you notice. And anything after that, everybody drop, and then that's going away. And the progesterone rise up on the 20, around the 21 day, preparation for the new life that is coming in, or the new cycle, I should say, that is coming in. Now, what I'm saying, whatever side of the fence you're on, even if you're on the fence, don't you think that understanding this, comprehending this, and this is just a quick crash course. We have a more in detail video that we did about 6 months ago. You could, find it on our YouTube channel, Rastafari, I think, and the menstrual cycle of the woman, something of the sort. But what I'm saying is, don't you think we would make for better conversation if we comprehend this? I will repeat, man, I know this for a fact. Enough women do not understand their cycle. And they can't blame nobody that didn't teach them. You're a big woman now, man. You can Google this and that. You mean to tell me you don't know how your body works? And even brothers too. Shame on us. We don't even know how we work. Are we supposed to know how we work and know how the woman work? You shouldn't be having no conversation about no 21 day, nothing. And you don't understand this. Not even no 7 day, nothing. No, wait, what's your manual of reference? Leviticus? Not good enough. We have to become better than that. So I'm just highlighting here. This is not to make no point in it. This is just to bring to the table something that we can nourish ourselves on for a proper conversation. Not no argument, not your misunderstanding of what's happening here. Because what I'm about to show you, it's important that at least you grasp the science that we have here. All right. Now, so let's return now to what was said earlier. And we were talking about the purification of the 21 day. And of course, one of the sisters, what I like, one of the sisters said, I wish they had a Bobo Shanti, one of the empresses there from the Bobo Shanti camp here, you know, because they're very strict with that's before the other sister jumped in. They're very strict with their tradition. And they take it to the extreme, and then they came in and they didn't call any amount of days. But now, you see, even before I go any more, let me be clear here that this sort of discussion here, ones get turned off when they hear, oh, like what I just played earlier. Oh yeah, that turned enough people off. When I had Brother Jah Joseph with us, didn't you hear what Jah Joseph said? That Jah Joseph said he was checking in to the Bobo Shanti order because it's Garvey, he hailing. He still say Marcus Garvey is God. But he said when he came across the 21 day purification, in fact, when he was on my program, he said he was reading the book and the book said 2 weeks. I was the one that said 2 weeks. No, brethren, it's 3 weeks. And he said, yeah, 3 weeks. And he said his wife could not deal with that. And as I said on the program, so it was. A few ones didn't take likely, or so I've heard. When I was saying that nobody followed that. And I clearly excluded the camps, and even there. And I know why I said it, and the way I said it, I know exactly why I had to come now. Now you see the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards family. The Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is the Black Christ in flesh. That is what the Bobo Shanti stand for. And most of what you hear ones speak about comes from King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. But I will tell you that a lot of things that we know it, but we don't understand it. And it's very important that you have a good comprehension of the history of this thing. Because many times you have to go in your own heavens and even make your own decision. I'm telling you. Now, if you notice, now this is a subject, as I said, will get touchy. And I know some may say, but how you a man, you shouldn't be talking about this. What are you talking about? The 21 day purification, it wasn't a woman that brought it. Well, let me put it this way. The order of the empresses of the Bobo Shanti order was not brought to them by a woman. It was brought by a man. Again, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Now, I have brought sisters, empresses on this program, key empresses too. In fact, Empress Lily May, who is historically, this is why the history is important. Remember, it's 21 day purification we're talking about it. So we have to talk about it properly. She is the one historically, and she testified on this platform. The videos, is 2 videos we did. They're in the archives. Empress Lily May. Just go in our YouTube channel if you didn't see that interview, or revisit the interview. And she would explain to you how the 21 day purification actually started. She was the one, and we knew this before, but at least now we can point to the reference of the person who said that she was the one, and I want you to keep all this in mind. She was the one that went to King Emmanuel and said to him, well, she would like to go through with the 21 day. And others followed her, Empress Maisie and other ones. And King Emmanuel said to her, well, go through if you can. This is very serious. Now, we're getting back there. Just stick a pin in all my points. Now, as Rasta in general, you know, as I coming into Rastafari, I would have always heard that when the woman is going through her cycle, that she's not supposed to cook for you, and you're not supposed to eat from her, and, you know, different things. And even before I understood or overstood the Bobo Shanti thing properly, I would have always heard about the 7th day, and the woman should have a space. One just talk about in the house, some different thing. That this is not Bobo Shanti really, this is otherwise. And you know, she only deal with the youths and these things. All right. It's only, as I said, coming into Bobo Shanti, I hear of the 21 day purification. Now let me say, whether 21 or 7, because Bobo Shanti is 7, Bobo Shanti does do too. This is from my knowledge, 7. But the Bobo Shanti principle is very different. It is different. You see, even a man said that him here and his empress in some other room and them things. Do you know, from you're under the same roof, you yourself could be considered unfree. This thing have so much different doors to go down, right? I've seen so much things in front of me. Because you hear the sisters them talking about that too, of being unclean. And what is clean and what is not clean, one empress says, an empress is always clean, or always whatever the case is. Now, one sister went as far as to say that they're shedding. Family, this is a serious thing. In fact, before I go to this here, there's some science I'm going into. Let me deal with the domestic, face-to-face as family. And let me put it to you how I see it myself. I myself question. I always question, always question. How is it that you could have an empress and of course you reverence the cycle, eh? You reverence the cycle, of course. Because as I said when I was talking to Brother Judge Joseph, there ain't no woman in her right state of mind that would not appreciate love, that when that cycle begins, that she know that she can rest. I heard one sister say, you know, they have to go to work and the boss wouldn't like that. Well, you see, that may be true. But you see, that's the wrong environment for anything like what I'm talking about. It has to do with environment too. Bobo Shanti camp is an environment. Nobody leaving there to go work for no boss. But anyway, hold on. Let me take my time. There's no woman, whether she work for boss or not, that will tell you that during that beginning there, even if it's just for the time of the passing of the blood, whether it's 3 days or what, that she wouldn't prefer, that she would be waited on hand and foot and meals prepared for her. And even she has time to maybe deal with something that work took up the time, and she could go back to some poetry writing, and she could catch up on some reading without any thought whatsoever of anything at all, until she has passed that stage. And I will repeat, even if it's not 7 days, even if it's just for the period of the period. If you are a woman and you, I don't want that, well, trust me, I would, okay. I'm telling you, yeah, I believe that any sane one, and I hope you're not offended if you don't agree, but I believe any sane woman would delight in that treatment. That don't, whatever else you do in your life, however else you live, this ain't got nothing to do with you being Rasta not, what you wear and what you don't wear, nobody judging you. That's not all what you eat and what you don't eat. All I am saying is that a real woman, when her cycle begins, would be happy to know, well, I am all right. I don't even have to think left or right. The only thing I have to do is go to the bathroom because I'm well taken care of. And then I move on because it's a spiritual thing. It's a very spiritual thing that the woman is going through when that cycle begins. This is when you read in the Kemetic story of Hathor. Is it Hathor that drowned the inhabitants of a city in her menstrual blood? Hathor, Het Heru, as in the Kemetic writings, hieroglyphs, Meduneter. You understand? Even Sekhmet does drown them in blood too. So when you understand this science here, the spirit of the woman, we're talking about Bobo Shanti. Eh? Empress Lily may explain to you what the Bobo Shanti woman do with her blood. She'll take the pot and throw it in the rubbish. Because of the type of cloth, cotton cloth she would use to, she would wash that out and throw the water in the earth. There is a hole created for that. This is African stuff. I think she said with stones, and they would throw the blood to the earth and I think cover it all. However it is, but I know it goes to the earth. I always knew that, but she explained it a bit differently than how I think I was taught it, but she would know. That's why we invited her. She would know. Now that's a science all by itself. That's King Emmanuel business all by itself. But as I said, without carrying you thus far, I will say it one more time. I think it's in the nature of a woman to appreciate love, that she would be taken care of. Even one of those empresses that was on the interview, the one to the far there left, because it was lengthy, I couldn't run everything, but she was explaining that her kingman used to go through the 7 day and she would have a throne for herself. And you could see she delighted in it. But somewhere along the line, maybe, I don't know, something overcame the mind frame, so it went into a different realms. So here we are now. I myself would have asked, so how is it that you would, your woman, that you would separate her from you, and then, because as the sister said, whoever see them in on, if they sit down where you sit down and all of that, you're unfree. But yet still you would leave your place of abode, sometimes every day, and you would sit in a bus that someone just came up off of that seat, and then you go and sit in the seat. And then you go down to the post office, and then you go in the supermarket, and then you take the money from the cashier, and then you jump in with something, and then you have to go to the bank, and then they tell you, do you this, and then you come back home, and your wife is set aside because of that. Now, anyone, I don't care who you are, you tell me honestly, does that seem right? As I said, enough one's very dogmatic and religious. Obviously, it's Bobo Shanti I talking about. How can nobody else can stand up for that? It's Bobo Shanti. That seems right to you? And why don't nobody have no clout and that? Because nobody do them things. Anybody keeping 21-day purification the way that the woman explained before? Raise your hand. How many hands do you think can come up? If 4 come up, we're good. And I explained already, we ain't necessarily talking about the camp livity, because this is where we're getting back to now. The camp livity. Number one, we're talking about a blueprint that was left for us. Because we have to talk about King Emmanuel now, because we can't discuss this and not speak of King Emmanuel, his order, and what he has established. King Emmanuel Charles Edwards established a compound. You enter into the compound, listen, you have the guard house, you have the palace, you have the conference room, you have the office, you have the guest house where you have guests will come for Sabbath and from overseas and they get a place to sit. Or you have several independent houses. Empresses, this is another thing, this is African. Empresses actually have their own house. This ain't no joke. General Tao Tao, when he was here, explained that African tradition for us. You have the round house, you have the broom field, you have the international kitchen, you have the food house. You hear all them places I call there. This is an empire being run here. This is a government. This ain't a compound or a little thing. This is a real establishment. We have Broomfield, we making sandals, we making buttons, guidances, we making straw mats, we making different things, even robes and turbans being made there. King Emmanuel Charles Edwards didn't attract jobbers. Them is real Rasta livity when you just leave your job and come. Because in King Emmanuel kingdom, you have work to do. I'm talking about during the time of King Emmanuel. I don't know who came and see white people walking around with slippers. Because I would burn a fire too. Straight, well, you know me, I ain't got no time to play. But, so I don't know what the good sister saw. But I talking about King Emmanuel kingdom. Yeah. So in the kingdom, breakfast ain't lacking if you want that. Could be fasting day. You definitely can get some bakes and tea. It's still on the fire. Lunch coming up. Everyone will eat. Everyone will eat. Dinner too. King Emmanuel kingdom, daily service and everything and everything. You don't know the thing running clockwork under the empire of the God. I don't know one woman, none of them empresses that I interview. I interview Empress Maisie, I interview Empress Phyllis, I interview Empress Lily May, and talk to other empresses. I never come across an empress up to now that number one, never show no kind of vibes towards this 21-day purification. But second of all, they're always so glorious about it, especially in time gone. In fact, I wouldn't call a name, but one empress would have said, my Lord, when Dada was here, man, purification, we look forward to going house, because when we go in house, everything there for us. And I just knit, man, when I come out, I have how much belt and how much straw mat, and I just write my poem. This is in-house amongst all the empresses. And hear what the empress tell me. My Lord, I'm so glad I old now, because if I was young, I wouldn't want to go into no house no more. I want to keep everything I say, okay? It's a very sensitive conversation. This is chalice talk. In fact, we need a next chalice load, Russ. Okay, this is important. This is not gonna have no part two. Okay, you'll watch one and some people not gonna watch me all the time. This is very important. This is a Bobo Shanti Empress tell I this. And all the Bobo Shanti Empresses, they always glorify because there's something going on in house. That's what it's called in house. In house just has this exciting vibes. I don't care who come from where that don't even know what's going on, talking about people looking through window. I never seen nothing like that yet. Never. And there's also a little house on the close to the arch where there's a next gate. And if a woman come and she's going through her cycle, she'll enter through that gate, and there is a little house there. I don't know if that's what the sister saw. Got to be, because the house where the woman go. No man, no man. And she's saying that it's there as a spectacle for everybody to come and watch. That's not true. No disrespect to her. I don't know what she saw. And again, I talking about King Emmanuel. Remember, this is a kingdom where, yes, brethren do leave the camp, but 200 brethren in the camp, half of that not leaving to go to no job. 5, 6 brethren leave on the truck, go and get food and come back. 5, 6 brethren go and cut straw and come back in our own vehicle. Several brethren go and sell broom. You know what I mean? One's coming before sunset, fresh and ready for that. It's an order. It's not just a compound. Bobo Shanti Hill under King Emmanuel was what we refer to as redemption grounds. That's why it's not a reggae music ground either. People get upset for them little things. Oh, what's wrong with reggae music? Even it's not about what's wrong with reggae music. This is a space. Oh my, just leave it, man. It's just a little space in the whole world that Christ himself carved out and said, let me do the Christ thing in here. Let me do the Christ thing in here. It's the Christ thing I want to do in here. That's why I have a fence around it. Let me do the Christ thing in here. There got to be somewhere where there's the perfection being expressed. So just give me a chance in this little compound. You vex with me for that? Now, as I said, Bobo Shanti also kept that 7-day principle. And the 7-day principle now, you would get it amongst the Naya Bingi too. You'd hear them talk about the 7-day, but most Naya Bingi as such don't live in a compound. And most man in general live in house, live in apartment. Some man still shacking up with maybe mommy or something, no offense. And woman somewhere else and be talking about 21 people. I don't know what you're talking about. It's obvious that that is something for, just like one of the sisters said, that you have to go to work, you have to do this and have to do that. Obviously, if you're in that environment, obviously it calls for that. But Bobo Shanti Hill was not that. Nobody was going to work. This is what I'm trying to put to you. This is heaven set up to show you how man and woman supposed to live, Now, again, the natural cycle. Let me show you something here. I want to get into something before we even conclude. This is very important. It has to do with the thing about uncleanliness. I'm not done with what I was saying there a moment ago. No, it's chalice talk. I'm not done with that. I coming right back to the camp. I coming back to King Emmanuel. I coming back to the 21 day. Follow me good. This is a teaching moment. Not a moment for no argument. Okay. Now what I'm saying here, I just want to look at it on a scientific level. They speak about, being clean and unclean and all of that. And I would agree. The terminology is funny. It's words. Okay, when you go and you defecate, that means when you free up or poo-poo. When you defecate, you definitely cleaning out. Aren't you cleaning out? Don't be playing me now. You definitely cleaning out. Sometimes you can't even, so you're cleaning out. Okay. Most of us have something inside of us. Even though you just went, something might be still in there. Does that mean you're unclean? You know, so words are funny. Let me just read this quickly. This is the skinmaven.com, and it's talking about menstrual cycle, premenstrual cycle, and relation to the skin. But I want to go through this quickly because Sabbath is coming in as well, and I don't want to, keep you. Let me just take this out so I get the whole page. It says here, women are susceptible to acne because of higher levels of androgens during the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle. That's like day 1 to 7. Skin physiology. I was wondering what's going on there. Skin physiology changes during the menstrual cycle. Listen to me good. The sebum production increases following the release of estrogen after ovulation, resulting in a higher level of skin lipids and subsequent increase in skin microflora. Let me just make sure the family is seeing what I'm sharing here. Okay, good. The barrier function becomes impaired prior to menstruation, probably because of the bacterial release. See that? Bacterial release of unsaturated free fatty acid. Interesting word, free. Unsaturated free fatty acid, disturbing the stratum corneum. It is the reduction in the size of sebaceous follicular orifice after ovulation that is likely to contribute to the subsequent increase of acne lesions. Okay, that is very clear to understand, isn't it? Okay, with the knowledge of the sebaceous follicle constructs like the taurine quiet after ovulation, it makes sense to time your facial extractions at the time of ovulation or just above. This is when the sebum is more fluid and the follicle opening is larger and easier to remove comendomes, which is some particles as well. This will help to prevent blockage of the pores and subsequent bacterial colonization and inflation. Okay, and they're going to examine exactly what is taking place during the menstrual cycle here. I know there's a lot of heavy words and things here, some of which you see I kind of tripping over here, but it's all right. Okay, so you have prostaglandin, pardon me, increases pain sensitivity. Oh my. Your skin will be more tender, spots will feel more painful. Prostaglandin makes blood vessels constrict so you may flush more easily. With less soothing estrogen in your blood, skin will feel drier and lines or wrinkles appear more obvious. Okay, wow. Anyway, the point I'm making here, I think within all the scientific terminology, some of you would know it much more than myself. But the main point that I'm gathering here is that the skin, there's cleansing going on through the skin. Now, I'm not saying that you're unclean or anyone is unclean. I'm just trying to bring to the forefront, as I said before, a lot of us, we address this subject here with emotion. This is not an emotional talk. The skin, through the skin, it just showed you in the pores and so opening to get toxin out, not just through the vagina, through the pores of the skin, to the point that it affects the face. But most of us, we just concentrate on our face, but the pores of the skin in general will become, a gateway for the toxins. And the sister upset, like, what's wrong with, she upset that she can't knead the dough for the bread when she going through her menstrual cycle. Because we lack understanding. No offense to nobody, but we lack understanding. So we think it's religion. And he feel he too dread. Well, for me alone, everybody can live their life. I'm not talking this to push or force nobody to do. Not me, You know what I mean? Yeah, straight up. You got to do what you know you got to do. But I showing you the reality of it. This one is from the Journal of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics. Pardon. Wow. You didn't have me going here today. A phytopharmacological study on menstrual toxin. Just going through quickly. This one is by David I. Machit and Dorothy S. Lubin. And they say here, okay, some of what we just went through here. Blood, serum, blood corpuscles, saliva, sweat, milk. Well, Princess, I gotta go help me some of the word here. And other secretions of menstruating women contain a toxin substance characterized by specific pharmacological and chemical reactions. It says here, this menstrual toxin or menotoxin is very much more powerful in its effect on plant protoplasm, pardon me, than an animal tissues. And then it just goes in, I don't want to stay too long on that. It kind of shows you the effects on the plants and even some animals, the toxin when they take, they extract the toxin that the menstrual cycle produces, that you'll find in the blood, you'll find it in the saliva, you'll find it in the sweat, you'll find it even in the milk. All right, yeah. Now, the reason why I went for that, family, is to bring some more science into it. So back to the conversation of the woman being unclean now, and she's not supposed to cook for you, and certain different things. Now, remember, we touched the whole aspect of her relaxing her structure. The structure asks for that. Even if it's just for the first 3 days, believe me, the structure, I say believe me as if but believe me, the structure asks for that. And the structure would be happy to know that you could feed her and take care of her and bring anything, bring the papers, whatever it is. And certain things, she's not supposed to even go through during that time. Certain things she's not supposed, and this is in the order now, the order, the Bobo Shanti order. Certain things that maybe you'll be watching and reading or whatever, you keep it on a level where you don't stress yourself, because you could watch things on TV that stresses you. The news and all the madness there, that stress you out. News will make you say chups all night long. Again, what to them, But during that time, and the woman can be more into, if it's documentaries, good stuff, nice vibes. It's that, but that's what the Bobo Shanti art I'm talking about still. But for those who burning fire and all of them things here, and I'm an independent woman, can't you hear my high heels clicking up the floor? Yeah, well, you all right still, we don't drop Isaiah 2 and, it's up to you. But what I'm saying is that within the understanding, I don't think, I understand what the sister was saying about being unclean and the terminology. And it does carry some vibes. It's not something I use. I really don't use it for sure on that level. But it's obvious that she's going through a cleansing. And if she is, one of the sisters was saying that we must understand is the natural way of the woman. Exactly. So you can't deny the natural way of the woman. The woman is going through a cleansing. You want to stop it? Not just the passing of the blood, but even through the pores, in her saliva, in her sweat, in everything. Now, family, what it is, you live with a woman that's going through a cycle. And brethren, this is almost like an advice, man. You can't try bringing all them restrictions here right now, straight up. Even if it's your woman and you're setting herself, especially if you're in one house, just understand as Bobo Shanti, once you're under the same roof, yeah, just consider yourself in the same situation. Me, how I would look at it, if you're in that, because remember, I'm just explaining to you that this is something for an empire. In fact, before I explain that, let me go back to that. This is an empire business. When the woman go into house, there's a whole government running outside. A whole government, whether it's for 7 days, guys, don't reach the 21 yet. Whether it's for 7 days, 14 or 21. When she go into a house, there's a whole government operating. She's not in there wandering. She ain't gotta look out no window. And you see, let me show you this too. Remember, King Emmanuel leave us a blueprint. A blueprint. Family, our kingdom supposed to be established. Our kingdom, we supposed to have a whole fleet of jet planes. You know, if we have a camp in Jamaica, we have a camp in Antigua, we have a camp in Kenya, we have a camp in Ghana, we have a camp in Ethiopia, we have a camp in Uganda. Them supposed to be big camps, you know what I mean, with airstrips or airports. We have our own jet plane. It's so we're supposed to think, you know, something wrong with us, in the man. How you expect to move from all them camps to camp and we have big industry going on? So now a woman going into house is not going behind no galvanized fence. You know? Can you imagine a 5-star luxury hotel? If you're sending a woman into house, it's them kind of house it's supposed to be sending her into, where everything is there, just there. That's what it's all about, you know. Because remember, we read this in our morning devotion when it says that as man, you're supposed to make sure the woman get her water. That's what he says. No, you bring her water for her every day. You make sure her fence is set up upright with security. That's what we read every morning. In this time, you're not supposed to be bringing no water for nobody. It's symbolic now. It means you're supposed to take care of her. It means you're supposed to take care of your woman. And I as man in general, it's not just about one man taking care of his woman. I as man in general need to get this thing working properly. Because they have a lot of women out there. No mind them they that don't understand. They have women out there that want to be holy unto the Lord. That's what happened to Empress Lily May at that time. No? She wanted to be holy unto the Lord. King Emmanuel never forced nobody to keep 21-day purification. No? She went to him. This is what she tell me. Now I know a lot of the brethren is going to rise up again. Oh, priest, you just say that we read it in the morning devotion. Do you know in the morning devotion, morning principle says that the woman is unfree 21 days, rah, rah, rah. Now you see, that's why you need the history too. Because this is the politics that a lot of ones not aware of. There are politics around that thing that man read in the morning. Plenty politics. Sometimes I'm sick of hearing it. And who write it and who didn't write it and all of that. But let me say something about that. That same little paper that we read every morning now. And some of you can't tell when last you read it. You're just talking. Because that same paper says that if you miss 3 morning devotions, you're supposed to get your turban fly off your head. How many of you, not fall, you know, your turban, how many of you, when last you've been to a morning devotion? Much less to miss 3 in a row. Well, if God in you, you're supposed to take your turban off your head then. That same stuff that we read every morning also says that 10 p.m. on Friday evening, all smoking supposed to stop. And nobody's supposed to smoke again until the last hymn of the Sabbath service, Saturday night, and the anthem is sung. How many of us keep up that principle, that read every morning? But you want to hear some of the old fogey them talking about, oh, woman needs to keep 21 days. And they don't go morning devotion. And they smoke around the clock and break other things that we read in the principle every morning. So all I say in here still is to show you that the order that King Emmanuel set down is perfect. Because number one, enough ones never take the time to study that natural cycle that the woman have. And we arguing about if she clean and all of that. But yes, she is cleansing out. She's not supposed to be dipping her hand in no juice and making no juice for you. You're supposed to be making juice for her. You check it. And in Bobo Shanti order, the man them is who run the universal kitchen. As I say, women have their own house. When man go by their woman house, woman knock up a spice for them and it's just more freedom again. You don't even know how the Black Christ kingdom run. Some of you need to be careful, you know, man. And careful how you talk about the man order. Now let me just say this here in closing now. As it relates to that. You know, right? We don't stress this a lot. But you know that in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, Empress, bring my arm. Calling you Empress. Princess, bring my arm. Well, you are becoming an Empress, aren't you? Bring my maskel for me. Yes. Yeah. Honorable Princess Akisha Menian. Yeah. Yeah. You know, in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, give thanks to the man, Dubtronics, Israel, who came from Ethiopia with this to me. Bless up the man, Zephaniah. With Dadly Vibes Radio all the time. Make sure you tune into what Dadly Vibes Radio. What am I say? What Dadly Vibes Radio. Yeah, man. What am I say? What Dadly Vibes Radio. Maybe you're not gonna see me here on the YouTube for a while. Eh? Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the Shaka of the Hour, man. Or at least get a free strong. Yeah, so the Ethiopian Orthodox monks, the Batawe, a lot of us, we big up them ones, the Batawe, the monks, you know. What is a monk? As I was telling Joseph, as I was telling Joseph, I mean, if a man wanted to be a monk, it's up to him. Somehow, I don't know. But I don't think Rastafari promote monks. That's for sure. Because, I mean, you have to reproduce. But still, I give a level of respect to the monks in Ethiopia. And so some of them born, they're in the monastery since they're little children. Some of them maybe had family and so on. Whatever went on and said, look, I'm moving on, you know, and I become a monk and, you know, Buddhist monk. There are all kind of different monks. And it's usually someone that is celibate and usually doesn't have a wife. As I said, a man could have his wife and decide to become a monk and just go and cut that off. And they usually stay in a monastery kind of atmosphere. Now, how you would look at a monk is like to a level of holiness and a level of purity. And even in Rastafari, because when Rastafari started, it was really a Rastaman thing, you know, too much woman were coming to Rasta now. Them women that would hold on to the man and really follow them is precious, precious souls. Give thanks to them there. But it was really, you know, so it was almost like a monk tribe. You know, give thanks to the daughters as I know that would follow the way of righteousness. You understand? But even in Rastafari, and let me use Bobo Shanti, what I highlighted even to Brother Joseph, we have a period that we have called Lenten period there. And that's 40-something days. And how I learned it too, King Emmanuel will be preparing for that period like 2 strongs before. Like ready, like don't start the fasting 2 strongs before. And after it done, that's a whole month and a half, And 2 strongs before, and then 2 strongs or 2 weeks after. When man don't start eat, King Emmanuel still doing a little fasting and maybe come off of it and so on. And then there's a time, and those of you who know the order good, You heard when Priest Fliego was with us and Honorable Priest Courty. And Priest Fliego would tell the boys the time we fasting for 200 days and 2 years and you know. So remember when you're fasting, you know, even sexual activity and so is not a part of fasting, you know. So what I'm saying, that obviously the families of Bobo Shanti Hill. One thing I noticed for myself is that I notice usually the families live around the hill. You know, the same Priest Fliego, Priest Rabbi, Priest Headley, them kind of family structure usually around the hill. You know, I could be, you know, I don't know everything, but that's how I vision it from what I notice, what I see. So the hill have a certain level of holiness, if you want to say. And listen to me, let me be clear. It don't mean that sex is unholy, you know. We can talk real hour. Oh, I just want to make sure. No. But obviously the way that the world run it, it's obviously off the chart. Because even when you talk about cycle of woman and woman, is that most people mind gone? So, but I had to bring it in because a monk ain't having no sex at all for his whole life. And he doesn't make no offspring. He doesn't bring a next person into the world. A nun does the same thing. A nun. Roman Catholic alone have none. Orthodox Church have nuns. You know, we're going to the Orthodox Church on Sunday. They're consecrating the church in Bendels, just on the Greencastle Hill. They have an Orthodox church. And the father at the Abba, oh my, I will. What's his name? Is it Gabriel Jesus? Gabriel Jesus. Hey, my princess on the ball. Eh? Gabriel Jesus. Yes, he's going to be, well, the church is going to be consecrated. He's a monk. Young brother, I think he's younger than me. He's a monk. Eh? From Ethiopia. He's from Ethiopia. And he's been here a while. And he lived in the monk life. So it's considered a life, both monk and nun. I'm trying to show you something. Eh? Please listen to me. You don't have to harp on the monk point and say, boy, you know, monk. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I wouldn't encourage you to be neither. I'm just showing you that the monk life as such, there's a certain level of holiness that follows it. You know, the character Christ was cast in your mind as a monk kind of person then. You know? But the reason why I brought up the periods on Bobo Shanti Hill, where we would fast and pray and so, and the periods where you don't. And that's why I showed you that families exist, that people that born up there. So it's not a monk paradise, but the standard is such that it's not a loose paradise neither. Let me repeat it. The families of Bobo Shanti Hill, enough youths running around. Obviously, they born there, their mother and father there. You understand? King Emmanuel time. King Emmanuel have youths. Follow me good. Follow me good. But the system is set up in such a way that, again, it's not a monk paradise, but it's not a do anything paradise. It's not a loose paradise. It's a holy paradise. So there's a time and place for everything, obviously. How you gonna have a family and you're not making a family? You understand? But still, within the structure of how King Emmanuel set it and the yearly events, they have time. For example, Lent, which is a staple time. This differently than King Emmanuel say, hey, look, we're gonna run Bingy for three months and we're gonna fast. That's different. But there's a staple time called Lent every year, where in a sense, a man become a monk for a moment. And the woman become like a nun, if you want to use the term, for a moment. You understand? Whether you're on the camp or not. And that's important. You have to have a time, Father. Oh my, you got to have a time where you balance that off. And then afterwards, they can get back to business as usual. And the reason why I'm highlighting that, let me show you why. Because some man will clearly tell you, Tal, me can't stay so long. A month and a half, eh? Me can't stay so long. Even woman will tell you that. Times of the shower is coming on. And the reason why I brought it in, right, is to show you that they have both male and female that desire to separate themselves unto the Lord. It's not everybody think like you. It's not everybody in the world. It's not everybody, not, no care what nobody say. And it's not every woman. No man can tell me nothing. Is that every woman think like that. A real woman know when she see the real man. A real woman know when she see Christ in front of her. Remember that previous program we were talking about the 70 elders and 72 elders that got the spirit of the Black Christ. Yeah, a real woman understand when Christ is in front of her. All them empresses I speak of before, if you hear them speak of King Emmanuel, and Prince Emmanuel never pass in place with nobody woman. Can you imagine that? And all of them, they wash jalax, they iron his clothes. Even when the King Emmanuel in his elder stage, some of them would wipe his mouth and be around him. Yeah, that's the man that teach them to keep house. He's the one that teach them to empty the bloody water into the hole and turn to the east and block a prayer. He teach them that. He teach them to where the Mary fall, distinct them. They're distinct. He teach them what to do in house and how to operate when they come out and what to drink after the 7 days. We call that bush that run on the vine, Cersei. Bobo drink vine. Cersei, King Emmanuel issue Cersei. Corilla, they call it also, for the woman to drink after her menstrual cycle, and it's a vine that run on the wall or run on the fence. This is the deep science going on here. So they have women that want to be holy. They have women that don't have no problem going into so-called house, even if it's by themselves for 7 days. If you don't want to do it and you want to go to the disco, that's your business. They have women that ain't got a problem with that. They will be happy to do that. Give them a moment with them and their Lord. And as I said, in the kingdom, it don't even set so. Because even when a woman going through that 3 day and 4 day, for sure she will love a time by herself with you. But we're talking about a setting, a condominium, a real hotel kind of style. Then you come out amongst the other empresses and deal with empress business. So if it's 7 day, 9 day, 14 day, however you establish it, because brethren, we can't be building no kingdom and don't understand that the kingdom building is a process. It is a process. And keep in mind, they have women that want to keep the 21. You can't stop them. Because there are women that want to be holy as much as they can. Man, the 21, the thing is a real purification when kept and bring you back to that womanhood within self. But I would like to, put on the table again that it's not something that I noticed King Emmanuel enforce. I know it's written in the morning devotion. I got that already. But what else is also written there that we don't even give a second look at? That's what I'm talking about. So before we go into the depths of this discussion, you got to know the cycle of the woman. Woman, you got to know your cycle. Understand what's going on in your womb. Understand what's going on in your ovaries naturally. Understand what's going on in your brain, how you're supposed to think. You see, King Emmanuel, he's the one that bring and set this order for us. And then when you understand that, even understand what's going on when your pores are releasing toxins. A woman in her cycle is releasing toxins. You can't run from that. Whoever say, oh, them is old time thing and this is Bible thing. This is science. And every time when the man on free to, this is another thing. This is a next thing. Commanders be free. Enough man does be free. Yeah. Not just getting cut, number one, if you get cut and so, but other things. Oh yeah. When you ejaculate, all of that is being free. Man will still be cooking food for you. So because when you ejaculate, things happen to your body. You know? Your body start to do things. We call it thing PSI level, and so just rise. Things happen, or PSA or whatever you call it. Them things just change just because you ejaculated. And in the same way as the woman is passing things, you passing things too. That's what I'm telling you. King Emmanuel Kingdom is a little utopia set up for perfection, an establishment of the perfection, you know. So there ain't nothing wrong with the woman and her cycle and what they call a separation, but it's not no separation. It's a different zone that she gone into. Remember what the elder Bobo mama tell me? My Lord, when we used to keep house, it was the best thing. We had such a wonderful time. We look forward to going into house. But now, I'm so glad I am an old woman and I don't see my cycle no more. Because today I wouldn't want to go in. Why would she say that? Because of how it run. Because of what going on. Hey, our kingdom need upliftment, and there ain't no secret in it. The thing need upliftment, even from infrastructure to I and I. We need some serious upliftment. But you see, we don't want no leader. No, I mean, none of that. When one's come with inspiration and plans, somebody even trying to be the body leader. Inspiration and plan, oh, we lick it down and this and just say and that and that. See, like this discussion I have in here, that will almost never solve. That will almost never solve. A woman would come and want to be amongst and a man that would want to lock up for 21 days for real. And she didn't even know where the bread come in. Foolishness. You crazy? You mad. This is a real world, eh? You living in a high-rise city and in an apartment with your woman brethren. When your woman going through a cycle, give thanks if she can rest. Just consider yourself in-house with her. That's all. You're in-house with her. So if she ain't free, you're unfree. But you know she going through something that you're not going through. And just deal with her to the best that you can deal with her. That's all. That's it. Try to go fly ahead and go on no weird vibes and because this man said that and that man said that. Some of them man, they ain't even got no family that they can talk about. Some of the children ain't even no Rasta. Man have to be careful when you follow this advice and that advice. You know what I mean? Remember, man have been there and done that, eh? Then when we grow and we set ourselves, man, when you set ourselves, when you live in a standard, build your woman a house. So a woman do have a house. A woman's supposed to have a house. A man is supposed to have a family house and the woman have a house. That's Africa and the woman supposed to have a house. You know what I mean? And if it's a family structure and a family yard, she might want to keep a woman keeping house in her house. I mean, what can be better than that? And she come out on her high-rise veranda. It's not in-house. She be locked down and looking through the window. She in-house on her high-rise veranda taking in the sun. In-house. You see, but your mind small. Nobody can argue with me, no. Prince Emmanuel, I praise him. I don't care what nobody say. You can talk till the cows come home. I gonna keep my Sabbath day with far eye. Holy Emmanuel eyes, Lassie eye, Rastafari. Yes, family, do give thanks. As I say, it's an extensive subject area, and I didn't really do it as such to answer any questions, but I'm sure I answered some. But I did it to somewhat bring a more level comprehension to it. So it doesn't, so at least you could think of it and look at it with common sense. That's why I touched it from so many different angles. And I somewhat even feel like I want to review it quickly so you don't lose the essence of it. But I think I think you got it, As I said, study the cycle of yourself, woman, naturally. Understand what's really going on when you see a cycle. And I'm telling you, there's no better physician than King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. It is those of us, the 70 and 2 elders that left and whoever else, you know what I mean, and all whoever left, is we need to get the things structured properly and get the things back on track properly for the man and establish the thing so we can grow a glorious kingdom and see palaces and you know what I mean, and glory across the earth internationally. You know what I mean? The government amongst governments, they have to start asking man to come to the UN and sit down and talk. And all them G7. I just building them because that's where the mind is. We got to be real. It's Rastafari. This is Rastafari. This ain't no zinc fence jungle party. This is Rastafari. Yeah, governing the earth in the name of Haile Selassie the first. Is Haile Selassie the first we send them. When we go launch off, what the next generation, we're not even bringing them up properly for this battle here that we are. Yeah, that's why I said this is what we're doing here. This ain't no joking. You see me come and be talking, this is not no joke. This is for the resurrection of our people. I just adding to the liberation of the minds of our people. Yeah, I know some of us, we hear it and we like a lot of nice talk, but you can't just listen to the talk. You have to implement the talk, yo. You have to act on the talk, and we need to focus on economics. But you see, we lacking love too, eh? Nobody love nobody. What a song with a man Sugar Lows. Nobody love nobody, brother. It's talk, talk, talk. I see that. What is real love? We really love one another. We really, how much do you really love me? No, the talk, man. Them is talk, talk, talk. How much talk? Some of your brethren that you say love, it's just a kind of, yes, I love, and your man here. Yeah, yes, I want some water. It's them kind of love there. You know, really love. So, anyway, family, as I said, just give me a few days, maybe a few strongs. I don't even know how long, but you know how to find me, man. As I said, we'll be doing the Shock of the Hour every evening. You should subscribe to the Shock of the Hour radio program. Definitely, if you don't want to, you could still get a free trial. You understand? If you're smart, after the free trial is done, just hit me up from a next email address. So I think it's somebody else, and say you want a free trial, and they get the next free trial again. You know what I mean? And then if you don't have no more email addresses, maybe you can use a sister email address and make her email me, and she'll get the free trial, and you could, you know, either download it to your computer, whatever. So you get a whole 3 weeks for free by using different emails address. Eh? Yeah, you must be wondering, but wait, how are you telling them? Well, let's see if they do it or not. Yeah, so do give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life. Hard to Sabbath, the showers coming down. The weatherman says it's gonna rain from last night to midday today. And then at midday it's gonna stop and we're not gonna get no more rain. No rain coming, now the rain coming. Now that it's 6 o'clock the Sabbath. We hit the Sabbath 6 o'clock, the rain started. You may say, well, the weatherman don't know everything. Every day they get it wrong. Every day. Anyway. Yeah, even our summer solstice hike that was supposed to rain out. Give thanks that Jah is in control. Heart to Sabbath family. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love.